Hello everybody. In the current affairs this week, the week ended 16th of November 2025. The first and foremost news this week was ruling NDA, the National Democratic Alliance, led by the BJP, has secured a resounding victory in Bihar. Well, Bihar elections are not just any other state elections. The Modi government at the national level is quite dependent on the support of Janata Dal United of Nitish Kumar. A strong victory of the alliance in Bihar would give a stable government at the center, and the coalition will work without any hindrance. A stable government at the center, as we all know, would translate into policy continuity, stable governance, and definitely predictability of economic reforms. The another good news this week was that CPI inflation, that is the Consumer Price Index inflation in India, was at a low of just 0.25% for the month of October. Well, this is the lowest figure of inflation that any of us would have heard of in their memory in their lifetime. A lower inflation is definitely good for the consumers and the people at large at the grassroots level. Moreover, insofar as the corporates are concerned, it also helps them to control their costs and in turn maintain their profitability at a level which is expected by them. Moreover, a lower inflation gives a legroom to the Reserve Bank of India to think in the direction of rate cut. Although insofar as the rate cut is concerned, the RBI needs to watch the trends of inflation in the successive months to take a decisive call on any kind of rate cut. But a low inflation rate is definitely helpful for the RBI to cut the repo rates, and that could lead to a lot of advantages for the corporates who are borrowing. At the same time, it is a strong positive signal for the stock market in general. The Indian stock market this week, on account of these positive news, Nifty 50 was up by 1.66%, Nifty Mid Cap was up by 1.4%, but Nifty Small Cap was up, yes, but by just 0.40%. FIIs, as always, have been sellers to the extent of more than 12,000 crores, and DIIs have been buyers, as always, to the extent of more than 24,600 crores. The two best sectors in terms of the stock market performance this week were Nifty Defense, which was up by 4.15%, and Nifty IT, which was up by 3.37%. On the commodities, Brent crude was up by more than 1%, gold in India was up by around 4%, and silver in India was also up by 7.5%. So once again, this week, gold and silver rallied substantially. As far as the global markets are concerned, they were by and large in a stable mode. Nasdaq was mildly down and S&P 500 was mildly plus. IPO season in India is in full bloom. Large number of companies are tapping public markets. The markets are quite judgmental about the valuations to be given to each of these companies. In quite a few cases, the private equity funds who would have entered into these companies which are coming for IPO at a very early stage are going for exit, along with some of the exits which are sought by the core promoter group as well. So the PE funds and the promoters are sellers by way of OFS and offering it to the public through the IPO route. And the buyers are Indian retail investors and also retail investors once again through the mutual fund route. Time would say whether buying into these companies which are into promising businesses is something which is worthwhile, and whether this investment of Indian retail investors is going to pay rich dividends in time to come by participating into companies which are new age companies and growth companies. That is all for this week. Thank you.